This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, my name is Colleen Leahy. I'm an addict in recovery, and this is the Empty Chair Show, Exposing Addiction. We've been doing the show for a while now, and basically the goal of the show is to pretty much smash the stigma and judgment that goes along with being an addict, so people aren't ashamed. If they are an addict, if they have a family member who's an addict, a friend, there's no shame in being an addict, because there is hope, there is recovery, there's treatment, there's all kinds of options. It doesn't have to go on, very, very long, and, it's jails, institutions, and death. That's where active addiction leads to, and it's very important how people know how powerful this disease is. It's absolutely horrible. It's the strongest thing I've ever dealt with in my life, and I see it ruin lives all the time. On the other side, I've seen recovery change lives around, and and there's good and bad that goes with dealing with addiction and recovery. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce my co-host, my dad, Phil.
Hi, and again, welcome to another edition. Tonight, unfortunately, we're going to put another name and a face on the empty chair. We have a pretty courageous family who's come down here, and they're going to share with us a story that just recently happened to them. So I'm going to introduce Doug, his wife Pam, and their daughter Shannon, and obviously we're thrilled to have you here. Obviously, we wish it could have been under better circumstances, but what you're doing is going to have an impact, I can guarantee you, because we've done shows like this in the past, and it's pretty courageous what you're doing. So, I mean, just to get it started, why don't you tell us your daughter's name and how it started, what your daughter was like before this disease kind of took hold of her.
Okay, our daughter's name was Courtney Griffin. She was a wonderful kid, always looking for excitement, funny, made everybody laugh, always made everybody laugh. She was very smart, not a very good student, but she was very smart. She would have friends over the house, and we'd stay up late laughing, and she was just, exciting to be around. And since her passing, we've had all of her friends contact us with stories about how she helped them and things that she had done. She even went so far as to join the Marine Corps, and she went into boot camp in the Marines, and unfortunately, she failed her urine test on the way in. So after a month, they asked her to leave. And we got all kinds of contact from people she was with in boot camp, saying how she had helped them and how she had come to their aid. And she was just that kind of person. She was always trying to help somebody else.
Now, and she was extremely young when she was
20 years old.
20 years old.
Yeah.
How old was she when she started experimenting?
Well, I think she started smoking pot when she was maybe at high school or just before, right around there.
It probably really started when she got her license, probably, right? When she kind of had some freedom, she had a job, she, had her own life.
16 or 17 would be my guess.
Yeah.
That's when we started to notice that she wanted her freedom. And she was working. She worked quite a few jobs and was earning some pretty good money. So we knew then that was the start of it.
Yeah. She started working food service. The fast food restaurant, open till stupid hours. Yeah. And stupid hours is when the stupid people come out. So there was these people coming into her at the fast food restaurant at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's who she was. And when she'd close up, she'd be with these people. And if I had to pick anybody that I wouldn't want her to be with, it was the crowd that comes out that hour at night. And I think that was the real beginning of being introduced to drugs. Yeah. She started with Perk 30s and pills.
Well, she didn't start with Perk 30s. She started with pot.
Right.
Yeah. No, she smoked marijuana for a while, and then we started noticing a little bit of behavioral changes with her, and it progressed from there.
Yeah.
So we could definitely see the changes in her.
It started in our medicine cabinet, with like, gee, huh.
Her
Well-
story sounds very similar to mine. I was about the same age when I got my license. That's when I started, the freedom, chasing that freedom and being surrounded by the wrong people, sick people. And I don't know, you guys seem like a good, normal family. So just so people that are watching know that it's not like she was, living under a bridge, homeless, abuse all over the place and everything. Normal family, and and your daughter ended up being an addict. So just so people are aware that the disease does not discriminate on who it is.
The thing is, Courtney was a world traveler. When she was 12 years old, we let her go on a people-to-people tour to Europe. Wow. And at that point, she just really developed her independence. She came right out of her shell. I mean, she loved it. She loved to travel. And at 12 years old,
she had friends all over the world. It was cool.
Even though we gave her a calling card, she didn't feel it necessary to check in.
Yeah.
She had no separation anxiety. She felt really good about travel and adventure and absolutely loved it.
Right.
And she loved that she could give her friends the card to call home because they were missing home.
Right, but she was okay.
She was cool,
I'm good.
exactly.
She was great.
When she got home, the other parents were so thankful that our daughter let them use their card to call home, and she don't even call
She
them.
lost it.
But she had been to Hawaii a couple of times, and if you were to ask
she loved.
Courtney what she wanted to be when she grew up, she would always say Hawaiian.
Yep.
That was her attitude. Not I want to be a plumber or a doctor.
Right.
Well, I mean, just by what you're saying, obviously, she doesn't come into the class of, low class, depraved, so forth. She had a pretty good life.
She had a good life.
So, what Colleen says, and, you obviously prove that the drug does not discriminate. I want to ask you, Shannon, now, you're a little bit closer in her age. Did you start maybe noticing some of the changes before your parents, or did you, did it sneak up on you guys, or what?
Courtney was funny because Courtney had a lot of different personalities. I think the pastor at her service said it best. She was a chameleon, and she liked to have her freedom. She liked to have her own life, and I've never met a family that was more open. We talk about everything. There's no judgment. It's okay. We're always supportive of different things. And but she liked it. She wanted to be able to kind of go do her own thing. And she was a storyteller. She would make up, tall tales, which would become like, what? Like was you could never tell what she was talking about or anything, but she did it for personal entertainment because she was so smart. She was so bright that it was a way of kind of like doing her own thing. So in the beginning, no, I don't think, we would hang out. We spent a lot of time together. We had sleepovers. We, talked about a lot of things. She was very open with me about a lot of stuff, but no, I didn't see it coming until stuff started missing.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, and I remember that part.
It's horrifying.
Now, all right, let's fast forward to now she's in trouble. So, obviously it's new to you because she's so young. I guess if you want to say I was fortunate, Colleen started at that age, yeah, but, her addiction lasted so many years. Her OD didn't kill her. It scared the hell out of me. But
You're lucky she's here.
But she, even at that, she was older. Now, yours was like a 3-year span where she went from A to the end of the alphabet.
And it evolved.
Yeah.
Constantly,
So, and that is really a quick evolution, even
She admitted
even
that
with
she
addiction.
loved to get high. She loved to get high.
She
All right,
chased
so
it, yeah.
now she's in trouble. All right, now you guys know. So what steps do you guys take?
We knew last year around, I would say, the June, July timeframe, things were missing, blatantly missing, and they were expensive things. That's when we confronted Courtney. The thing that Courtney would always have issues with is if she was confronted. She wouldn't admit to doing anything, and she was wrong, and she knew it, and she was in trouble. At that time, she had gone to Hampstead Rehabilitation.
Sure. Yep.
She went in there, and I think it was just a joke. I don't believe that they helped her, not one bit. She was in there for 9 days.
Yeah.
Whatever she was telling the counselors, I don't know if it was true. It sounded like we were depriving her of a college education at the time. But at that point, that's when she admitted that she was doing the perk 30s, and there was a whole list of drugs that she was doing, not heroin at that time, but it was the perk 30s.
Yeah, you hear
and-
phrases, Xanny bars, Perk 30s, this and that
yeah,
thing.
things that I never heard of before. Cute little names, but what are they?
Yeah.
I
Right,
didn't know
right.
what they were. So we knew at that time that she was in trouble.
Right.
And we had her college education fully funded in the bank, but I wouldn't send her. She got accepted, of course, at the University of Hawaii, and I was not going to cut her a check for
applied on
30
her
grand
own,
and put her on an airplane
Yeah.
when she was, admittedly, all she wanted to do was get high.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where drugs were.
So-
They're not in our town.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No, no,
what?
never.
Yeah, that's true. So
our town.
as it evolved, did you look into other forms of treatment for?
Google. We tried everything.
Yeah.
And New Hampshire is like a closed book.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's
Very,
very,
very
hard. And insurance, you know, their exact words were, it's not life and death.
It's not life, yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
were
How
wrong.
can you say
That
that?
goes
Yeah.
to show the type of people you're dealing with,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's difficult in Mass, like for the addict to want to get help is like the first, battle, just to
Yeah.
get them to want to go. But then to find somewhere to go and find somebody that's in Mass, it's like it's not as bad. But New Hampshire is like
New Hampshire's-
it's
New
really
Hampshire
tough.
New
It's
Hampshire's
really
It's
tough.
worse.
It's,
Well, unfortunately, if you have no money and you're homeless,
You're better
then
off.
you got treatment.
Right.
well, in all honesty, even in Mass, we say the best thing is to have Mass health. The second best thing is to have nothing.
Right.
The third best thing is to have health insurance. And things are changing legislatively, but obviously not fast enough for me, and
Not quick
obviously
enough,
not
not
quick
enough.
enough for you.
Yeah.
So she never really, well, obviously she was only 20 years old. She never really got into a long-term
No.
program.
But we did try that. Now, Courtney overdosed this year in July, and we never even knew about it. Courtney would just come home, and you'd never know where she came from. She would say that she was going out to this friend's house when we know this friend lives this way, and she would turn that way. So we never knew where she was really going. In July, we got a phone call at home, and it was the ambulance service wanting to know what Courtney's insurance number was. And I said, is this something recent? And they said, yes, just yesterday. So they had given her transportation at one point. And that's when we knew again, there's a problem.
Right.
So it was as new as July of this year.
Well, and and not to keep repeating it, but she started, we'll say 16, 17, and to graduate at age 20, well, prior to that, you guys really, like I say, I guess I was fortunate because her addiction progressed a lot slower.
And the opiates are very, very
Right.
popular now.
Yeah,
I
they
hate
are
even, like,
more
saying
so.
that they're, like,
And
popular,
apparently
but-
easy to get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what hurt you
that's like
guys
the
is
norm.
you didn't really get the opportunity to educate yourself on it,
Also, when she turns 18, they won't talk to you.
no.
Yeah, and
No
I
one
think
talked to
there's a fine line of trying to become their friend, trying to put, not trying to push them away, not ask
Right.
the right questions.
Right.
Because I know for us, Courtney was hysterical. She was the funniest kid I've ever met. She was just an absolute blast. And when we got glimpses of it, we would want that night to be so much fun, and it was, and it was just a really good time. We had just gone on mopeds.
Yeah, we took the day and we went to Old Orchard Beach this year and we all rode mopeds. And we're having the time of our lives. And on Courtney's back is the fact that she had been arrested a couple weeks ago for heroin abuse in Methuen.
Oh, wow.
And
we had
don't
no
know.
idea.
We didn't know until she passed away.
No
We got a
idea.
letter from the courts that she was due. And all that
Shot
while,
a court
she's
date.
carrying that with her, trying to have a good time.
Yep.
And we knew she was going through that kind of thing. And I think the reason I came tonight is to point out that no one looks at it from their perspective. She was in agony. She was tortured like you wouldn't believe, knowing that she was stealing from us and loving us and loving us full speed. And we were loving her right back, knowing what she was going through. Like you had said before, we would meet her at a gas station to fill her gas tank. We would meet her at a restaurant, give her some food, and she would take the leftovers for her boyfriend. And we wanted to keep that contact, and she did too. We struggled to keep that contact.
And by the way, your knowledge about addiction may not have been as much as you. But
it
I'm going to tell
wasn't.
you one thing: keeping the contact, and there's tough love and everything like that. Well, tough love is, but you never want to break the contact.
No.
You want to keep communication open because if they are looking for help, at least they know they can come to you.
Right.
So that part there, you're spot on. Absolutely.
If I could get every person that put a needle in their arm this next day to go to an NA meeting and see what those people are admitting, they're letting you know how horrible it is and what it's done to them.
Yeah.
Now these kids think they can do it now and then. Oh, this is a good buzz. We'll do this again sometime.
Right. They just
Actually,
don't- they
it
don't
was
know
one of
what
your
they're-
friends that contacted me with these people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because her boyfriend met you at an NA meeting,
Yeah.
Right.
and that's
I mean,
how,
the meetings are good just because, you can kind of like relate to other people who have gone through the same things, gone through even worse things, and they were able to get through it clean. Like that's what I get out of going to meetings. Like I went there like very scared, and a lot of times like fear makes people not even want to go, or I don't need that, or I can just use on the weekends. And if you could just use like heroin on the weekends, there'd be no such thing as the fellowships that we go to, because that's what people would do. But it's impossible. Like once you cross that line and you're an addict, you can deny it all you want. You can, living a double life, like you were just saying, like she's trying to have fun and wear this like mask with you guys, and in the meantime she's got all this stuff going through her head, trying to keep up on the lies and the dishonesty, trying to remember what she told you and make
She's
sure it
the
matches
queen
what
of
she
the
told
double
you,
life.
and make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
It was never
it's
the same.
draining.
She would have told her something and me something totally different.
Yeah.
And maybe not able to keep
Yeah.
track of what she was
and I'll
saying.
tell you, every parent of an addict has been there. All right, so let's fast forward, unfortunately, to the worst day of your life. How'd you find out what happened?
We were at home and we had our best friends from Methuen over for dinner, and we were actually sitting watching. Xfinity has this feature where you can browse your pictures that are online on your television, and we were sitting there looking at all of our family pictures, and coincidentally there was beautiful pictures of Courtney, and we were watching them, and the phone rang, and no disrespect to the Plastow Police Department, but somehow at the scene of the death, she was staying with her boyfriend's grandparents, and they leaked the word to the boyfriend that was in jail, and we received a phone call from him in jail letting us know that our daughter had died.
You found out from
the
the
guy.
boyfriend who was in jail?
We got a call from the
Really?
jail facility that our daughter had died.
That's tough.
And I,
Well, let's back up just a little bit. It came to the point where Courtney had taken a lot of stuff out of the house, and we had called the police on her because she was out of control.
Yeah.
The police came, they ended up taking her away. They took her to Exeter, where she went through some evaluation, the Exeter Hospital. He came back to the house and he said, we don't know what they're going to do, but if they do release her tonight, I would like to bring her home. We'll bring her home with the boyfriend, which they were staying with us for many months. Anyway, they came home, they released Courtney, the boyfriend was with her, 3 o'clock in the morning. So she came home, everything was fine until the next morning. We got up and went to work, Doug and I, and Courtney and the boyfriend wouldn't get up. What ended up happening was Courtney ended up taking more stuff, and it was the final straw, so we had to ask her to go.
Right.
So her and the boyfriend went.
I think
They were
it's hard
staying-
because the tough love thing kicks in, and I know for myself, you try to protect yourself, your family. I didn't want to see my grandmother and my parents go through this, so it's hard not to be a little bit more narrow-minded at that
Right.
point.
And again, what you're doing is the right thing.
Yeah.
The trouble is, I had to throw my daughter out also. Because we do the right thing doesn't guarantee the addict will also do the right thing.
Right.
but we did the wrong thing in that no one knew. No one
We
knew.
didn't,
And when she passed away, I eulogized her at the church, and I used the word heroin out loud.
Yeah.
And it was like,
And
whoa.
the whole church just went silent because no one knew. Courtney was in a car accident the prior day.
Right.
She had wrecked her car. And, after the fact, there may have been issues that we didn't know, but everyone assumed there was something that developed
Okay.
from the accident.
All right, so tell me something. All right. You have a lot of parents who lose addicts, and I'm sure you've seen them died unexpectedly or died suddenly. You had a perfect alibi to cover up your daughter's death, and you didn't.
Well, we did initially because in the obituary we didn't mention it. And the pastor of our church said, if you don't mind, I would like to talk about drugs at her funeral. And I said, absolutely not. No, I don't want her to die with that stigma.
Okay.
And then we went home.
And we decided as a family that we have to. We have to.
So so originally you were going to
Not
Deny it.
saying
take the high road.
Well, we weren't going to
and
admit it.
then you changed, and
We're extremely involved in the community that we're in, and we both own businesses in the community, and we have a great relationship publicly. She did too, so that was hard, but we have to talk about it, absolutely.
Because I didn't want another one to die.
The reason is because we were never embarrassed by Courtney or her addiction or ashamed of Courtney.
Right.
Courtney would say to us, this drug is ruling me, and it just penetrated into my head. There has to be other kids out there feeling the same way, and if there's anything that we can do to get help for any one of them, it is worth coming public.
To let them
And
know
their
it's okay.
families,
Let them know it's okay.
yeah, and I'm going to say the biggest help you're going to be will be to parents.
You guys are showing like amazing like courage, and just when you were talking about when she was here and you calling the police and telling them they have to go, and it takes some families are never able to do that, and they just enable, and nothing good like comes from it. So that took huge amounts of like courage and strength, even though I'm sure it like hurt and you didn't want to and you wished it could be like another way to do it, but you have to keep yourself safe too, because in the end, like if an addict's going to use, there's nothing in this world that's going to stop them. They have to want to use. They have to do the work. If we could be stopped by somebody, he would have stopped me years ago. But it has to be something, that choice that they make for themselves. And yeah, we can try and like guide them and try and help them, keep in touch with them. But until the addict wants to get clean, they're gonna keep using, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. And the fact that you're talking about very openly, like everything that happened, like that takes like huge amounts of courage. And this will, it's not maybe it'll, help somebody. This will definitely help people.
And the people that I hope will listen to you, I mean, obviously I hope they all listen to you, but the people that, like I was, that because I was middle class and so forth, not my kid. Those were my words. That would never happen to my kid. All right? Yeah. And those are the people that I hope will look at you, again, family, loving, everything great, so forth. Who would think? And
Nobody would have thought.
exactly.
Nobody would have thought, and everyone was pretty surprised to know that beautiful girl was an addict.
And we also found that when we finally decided we had had enough and we went to the police, they were extremely supportive, extremely. Now, I've dealt with Kingston, Plastow, and Newton. And those three police forces have active, proactive things going on. And they're easy to work with, and they're genuine, and they're not like vindictive or punitive. They don't want to lock you up.
Right.
They're the drug, Rob LaFerriere from Newton, fantastic working with Courtney.
Yeah.
He was able to win her confidence over instantly, and she hated them because they were her enemy.
Right.
This guy and her, she hit it right off of them right away.
He went away to
Just like the
training and
stigmas attached to like the addicts, like that were under the bridge and carrying a bat. There's like the stigma that's attached to the police too, that like they're the enemy, you can't go near them, they want to hurt us.
And we're
they wanna
look
lock us
different
up.
with
Oh,
Chief
absolutely.
Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
My lovely wife just told us we have 5 minutes. I told you. And the reason I wanted her to give me so much time, each one of you, if you want to take a minute, what is it? Okay? I mean, I know the pain you're going through, and like I say, I've met so many other people who have. But you people are really somewhat unique for the way you've handled it. So each of you, in a minute, what is it that you're looking now for the future? Pam?
When I took Courtney, we went to a facility in Manchester, and she was being interviewed for an hour and a half, and the woman came out and shook her head. She said, Courtney, in her addiction, we have a program that would help her 100%. The problem is the insurance company said it's not a life or death situation.
Okay.
And my daughter stood there and couldn't believe she was in so much pain and agony, needed help, And this person, it was all about the money.
Yeah.
The insurance company declined, and we didn't have thousands of dollars to throw into this system.
Exactly, yeah.
And I lost my child because of it.
That wasn't,
That's
that wasn't
wrong.
life or death.
Well,
Yeah.
you know
And they
what?
said it, yeah.
I don't have
Exactly.
her.
Yeah.
It was life or death.
Yeah.
It was.
Lousy way to prove a point, isn't
Well,
it?
you know,
Terrible wording or something.
Yeah.
All right, Janet, now, you're the older sister, and I know this is gonna be killing you. What do you look for in the future now? What do you think, what you're doing, do you think will help in the future?
I guess ultimately my take on it is to definitely celebrate my sister, because she was great, beautiful. She was just really cool. Ultimately, I think what my mission is to lessen the burden not only for the addict, but for the family.
Yeah.
And for, again, the stigma to kind of go away and not get it out on the table and talk about, okay, this is what's going on and you're not alone, and it's not just your family, but it's the community, and we're all pulling for you, and whatever we can do, you know. I just, if you ever want to come in and talk to me about my sister, then by all means, I'm sure all of the memories you can share are mostly really happy and hysterical ones, but,
Absolutely.
you know, to lessen the burden of the addict and their families.
Doug?
Well, I would just, knowing what my daughter went through, I just don't want to see another kid go through there. And I don't want another parent to have to say, what if I didn't? What if I did this? Or what if I did that? Would she still be alive today?
we want to be able to talk to people. If anyone is hurting out there and they need someone, we're here.
Yep.
Come talk to us. Come, let me give you a hug, you know, something.
Yeah, if you have ideas or...
We just want to help.
And, you know, I'm gonna have to wrap up. I gotta tell you, you know, obviously, we have a community group. I'm hoping you guys will get involved in it, because I know you can be huge contributors. Colleen, is there anything you wanna?
I don't know. I mean, this pretty much sums up why we do this show, just to get the message out there that that this disease is it needs as many people as possible, addicts, family, everybody, to like come together and fight this thing, because it's not getting any better out there. But if we keep, you know, getting it out there like this message, then we are gonna make a dent in it.
Yeah. And folks, you're out there listening, look at this family. Understand the pain they've gone through, and understand the courage that it takes to do what they're doing, to maybe help some other people along the way. I know I'm going to be seeing these people in the future. I know they're going to be a part of our army to fight addiction.
Definitely.
So proud of all of you. Remember this girl here,
She was the best.
taken way, way too young. Try to understand how powerful the addiction is, where people have to go through this and families have to suffer. We're going to say goodnight now, and again, think of this family in your prayers tonight, would you please? Good night.